the book of the year was Red Rising. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan or a Warhammer fan, there's no way you're not going to love Red Rising. Welcome, everyone. First things first, dude, what a god-awful year. Thankfully, we had some bright spots, though. Welcome to 2026.
I can't believe we made it through. Oh my goodness.
It was touch and go there for a while, dude. It's not great. Nathan and I just got done recording the Patreon episode. If you guys are members of our Patreon, we put out free episodes over there.
And they're unedited and unfiltered, so you get our real opinions on everything. Not that we don't have real opinions on here, but we are definitely more uncensored on that episode.
I definitely say fuck a lot more on that.
You're going to have to bleep that out, brother.
I don't know. Maybe in the new year, we're going to just tell people, it's like, listen, just put headphones on, man.
New year, new me. It's going to be marked as explicit. It's fine.
Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina, grab a drink, and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome everybody to episode 138. Today's recording date is Thursday, January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. This episode will come out on January 5th. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe and join the Silly Goose Brigade. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of 2026.
Doesn't matter if you've been in the fandom for 10 years or 10 seconds, you are welcome and we are happy you're here. You're welcome here. That's what I meant to say. That's staying in.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
We are professionals.
Professionals, but it's spelled wrong. P-R-O.
How many I's does this have in it?
Is there an SH sound? Yes. Let's see. Dude, we had a weird year. A great year. Can you give our listeners just a quick update on our growth for this last year? People like hearing about growth, right? Right? Am I right?
Wow. Actually, no, that was excellent phrasing.
My romantasy readers, you know what I'm talking about.
What's up, my book talkers? Yeah, so we grew twice the size this last year. This is about to be a very sexual podcast.
Oh my gosh.
We're really turning over a new leaf in the new year. Hello,
we're
everybody.
an ASMR channel now. You thought two white guys on a podcast was bad? Now it's an ASMR podcast.
Yeah, where's my nearest trash can? Oh God. Okay, so this year, seriously, when we're talking about growth, we're gonna talk about specifically like our social media presence. We actually were able to double our social media presence this year. We are just under like 6,000 global followers, which you might be saying, Nathan, that is nothing. I know it's nothing. We're working on it, but you have to start from somewhere. We started the beginning of this year with about 2,800 social media followers across most of our major platforms, and now we're at about 5,800. So super excited about that. It feels really good. And Andrew, I don't know if I told you this. I had somebody at work recognize me from one of our shorts.
That is a weird level of recognition, actually. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So a soldier came up to me. If you guys don't know, I'm a strength conditioning coach for the U.S. Army. I basically strength train soldiers. That's it. And I'm just like walking around one day. I'm like going back and forth between our sides of the building, doing something. I don't even remember what I was doing. And one of the soldiers comes up to me. I'd never met this guy before. He's not in one of the battalions I train. And he's like, hey, I think I know you. And I'm like, yep, I'm one of the coaches here. Like, that seems pretty standard.
Yeah, I work here, man.
and he's like, no. Like, I know you work here, but like, I think I saw you on the internet the other day. And I said, oh, where from? And he's like, do you like Warhammer? And I'm like, yes, I do. And he's like, yeah, dude, I think I saw you on Instagram or something. And I'm like, nice. And I was like, yeah, dude, like me and my brother have a podcast. We talk about Warhammer and Star Wars. He's like, dude, that's sick. And I was like, yeah, it's like really fun. You should check it out. And he was like, cool, dude, thanks. And I was just like, yeah, give him a little fist bump and then walked off. And I was like, oh, I'm low-key famous. No, that's not where my brain went. But most likely what had happened is that videos get pushed out to people, ideally, who are close to you, because we do location tag our stuff. So somebody at work saw it.
Yeah, in the greater Seattle area, we're in the Pacific Northwest. Right now, it is so cold and so wet here. It is.
Yeah, dude, there was like freezing fog on the way home yesterday, which, first of all, driving home New Year's Eve, or essentially New Year's Day, at 1 o'clock in the morning with freezing dense fog. I couldn't see 20 feet in front of me. I was like, oh, this is where I die. This is how Nathan dies, is hitting a patch of black ice and then getting absolutely T-boned by a drunk driver. Like, it's gonna happen. We made it home, and I was like, oh, thank God.
The fog was so thick where I'm up at, because I'm north of Seattle, you're south of Seattle. Not to dox you or anything, but the fog was so thick up where I'm at. Again, this is a massive stretch of area. We had the same exact weather pattern. It was so dense I couldn't see the fireworks over the water. Like, I could hear
we couldn't
them
see
go
any.
off.
We couldn't see any of them around, and they were going off like crazy. But like, I couldn't see headlights that were more than like 100 yards away. Like, I'm driving up to the stoplights, and even my wife was like, so the stoplights are supposed to show up now, right? And I'm like, yeah, they're here eventually. Like, we got into our neighborhood, and that's actually where it was the worst. And there's like a turn in the main drag of our neighborhood that we were turning. I slowed down to like 10 miles an hour because I could not see more than 10 feet in front of me.
Yeah, it was super bad. Hopefully everyone made it home safe and did not drink and drive. This is why I drink at home, because don't be stupid, people. We actually were gonna go to a New Year's party, and my wife was sick, so I stayed home, and we actually like watched a couple movies. It actually was pretty great, and I made brisket mac and cheese, so it turned out pretty.
Hell
well.
Yeah, dude!
It was good. It was pretty good time.
Who made the brisket?
I did. I made the brisket.
You son of a bitch! Don't lie to the people.
Okay, tell them about the brisket.
So, first of all, I made brisket over Christmas. I basically had brisket and cheesy potatoes the other day, which is like the potato version of mac and cheese. So I totally get it. And I just like swirled them together, and it was so good. I did not time that out well because I was so tired. By the time Christmas rolled around, I was like, oh, I woke up at 2 and I slept through like 3 alarms, and the auger turned on, and I was like just dying. Like, and I was like, hey, next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to time out my smoking and resting better so I can get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep continuously and just let the brisket finish like in late morning instead of early morning, because I was like, oh, I rested it for a couple hours and it turned out okay. I thought it was a little bit too dry, but I think that's also because I slept through the several alarms I had set to go out and like spray the meat. So that was cool. Loved that.
What was the total smoke time for this brisket, and how large was the brisket?
So the brisket started at 18 pounds. I trimmed it down quite a bit and took actually a lot of the meat off of the top cap off and made burnt ends, which actually turned out to be jerky bites, which were fucking good.
Those
were
so
good. I was
looking
a little
at them. They looked awful. I'm just going to say it. They looked pretty terrible. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to be rude. And I tried one, and I was like, wow, dude, it was through the stratosphere. It was so
beef
good.
Candy is what it was.
It was straight up beef candy. It was so good.
Yeah, so that was the nice thing about having burnt ends. The funny thing is like the brisket turned out all right. Like, I thought the flavor was exactly what I wanted, except it was just a little too dry. And I'm like looking through a lot of different places on how to fix that and what other like pit masters do. But I'm gonna dial it in a little bit for next year. And make sure that I can actually get a little bit more sleep and be a little bit more awake. Because let me tell you what, trying to like manage that big piece of meat at like 2 or 3 in the morning is really difficult. Doing anything at 2 or 3 in the morning that takes some skill is not necessarily something I would recommend. So,
I mean, I thought you did a great job. It was delicious. I still have quite a bit left over. I ended up freezing some of it because I'm actually going to make more brisket mac and cheese and divide it up into my lunches. So what I did to use it as a leftover is, first off, I started off just with heating my stainless steel pan for about 2.5 minutes on medium high heat. I love cooking on stainless steel, dude. It rules. And so what I did, 2.5 minutes, I set a timer, and in that 2 minutes, what I did is I diced up my shallots and I diced up my garlic. I barely came in under the wire. And as soon as it hit that 2.5 minute mark, I put in butter. Butter the pan, spread it around, and then once that was all the way melted, I knew, okay, now is the time to start frying stuff, and I put in my aromatics. And then from there, I added a bell pepper and then the brisket that I chopped up into pretty small pieces. And then from there, I just pan fried it for the same amount of time that I boiled the mac and cheese. I ended up going with Annie's mac and cheese because Kraft...
Annie's is the goat. Annie's is the goat.
It is. Kraft tastes bad, right? It tastes bad.
It tastes nostalgic. I'll say that.
But it's not good.
It's definitely not the best mac and cheese. See, this is why I want to start a Cantina channel, because we can just be like, hey man, we're talking about mac and cheeses today, and get us in a room and just have two white guys eating food.
We'll call it Bantha brisket mac and cheese.
Bantha brisket. Yum.
But it was pretty good. I actually ended up having that for breakfast this morning too, because I was like, we have leftovers. I need to eat the leftovers. I don't have breakfast prepared. I'm just gonna
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, sound off in the comments if you're eat whatever in the mornings. It's like, well, I don't want it to go bad, you know.
I'm gonna eat whatever in the mornings, but that's also because I have to pack breakfast and lunch with me on my work days. So I'm just like, hey man, whatever's in the fridge, it doesn't need to be eggs and bacon. I'm like, I don't like eating eggs and bacon every morning. Anyway, that's too rich. But I'm like, I need.
It's also
food.
not good for your heart, right?
No, definitely not. So I have just a normal meal prepped meal for breakfast, and sometimes it's like, hey man, I'm having spaghetti meatballs at 8:30 in the morning. So
true that. We want to talk a little bit about this past year. So something we do in our Patreon server, I guess sort of an ad, join our Patreon. We have a lot of fun. Is we talk about the books we're reading. And dude, the books this year were fire. Honestly, my reading list is probably what kept my head above water as far as like sanity with all of the crap going on in like U.S. politics, U.S. economics. There was literally an assassination this year. Like it's not been a good year. Like, it's been really, really dark, a lot of bad. It seems like people hate each other more now than ever. People getting abducted. And so having, like, these books to fall back on is really good. And there's actually some positive reinforcements that books do. Books teach you to be more empathetic. Books teach you better critical thinking skills. So not only is, like, it an escape, but it's also something actively good you can be doing for your brain. And I would assume that reading is probably really good for your overall like neuroplasticity and probably staves off things like dementia and Alzheimer's later in life. Like, I don't know that for sure. I have no data to support that, but it seems like it would be true, right? And it's like, what do you lose other than having tons of entertainment, tons of things to talk about with your friends, and just like a genuinely good time? This year in our Discord server, the book of the year was Red Rising. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan or a Warhammer fan, there's no way you're not going to love Red Rising. It's awesome.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. So I just finished Red Rising, and Golden Sun just popped into my Libby cart. Did you know that this book came out 11 years ago?
Yeah. Isn't that so weird? Like,
that's crazy.
Books are crazy because, like, Pierce Brown, that's the author, right? Like, I think that's the guy's
Pierce
name.
Brown, yes.
Pierce Brown. He wrote these absolute bangers, and, like, at least as far as, like, my exposure to them, like, I was exposed to them this year, and my Instagram feed is going off about Red Rising and Brandon Sanderson. Like, those two fandoms are really exploding right now, and I'm honestly so stoked to just be swept up in it because they're great. It's awesome.
So good. I'm really excited to read Golden Sun. Speaking of Brandon Sanderson, based on the recommendations of our Patreon, when people recommend books, I add them to a list right away because our patrons are super well read. You're really well read. And the funny thing is you guys had recommended Red Rising, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll read it eventually. I'll get there. And the guy who sits next to me at work was like, hey man, I know you like to read and stuff. Have you read Red Rising? And I was like, no, but I've had it recommended to me. He's like, dude, you need to read it. And I was like, that was kind of my impetus to be like, yeah, I'll read it. Not that I don't value your guys' weight more, but when somebody you actually interact with on a day-to-day basis is like, hey, you should read this book, it just gives you something to talk about. And I like to be that guy who follows through on things. So I was like, yeah, I'll go through, and I added it to my list. I got it. And at first I was kind of like, I'm not really sure about this, but that's me starting any book. Like even when I started the Mistborn series, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but like, it's just you getting acclimated to a new universe. And getting into it, I was like, okay, this is a little weird. And then I saw how much the book changed in the first like couple chapters. And I was like, I need to know how this ends. Like, this is really well written. You're like 4 chapters in, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm already sad. This is nice. And it tells a story that like we can relate to really well, which is there's no war but class war. So there's
no war but class war.
So
that's right.
You're going to hear me say that hopefully a lot over 2026. So, and it was just like, it's like, we've seen that in other franchises before, and I'm super excited to read through it. I'm on book 3 of Mistborn right now. I just started.
Nice.
Being on winter break has been really good for me because I have been playing more Minecraft and reading than I have in like the last like 8 months. And it's been really nice because I finished 2 books and I'm already a quarter of the way through the 3rd Mistborn book. So I am zooming through these while also playing some Minecraft. Which, fun fact, is another one of my goals for this year is to read, I have it written down somewhere, is to read a certain number of books, and I actually want to 100% 2 different games this year. So that's some of my goals for this year.
That's sweet. I love that. My reading goal for last year was read about 1 book a week, and I think I ended up like 1.1 books a week. And again, that is totally down to audiobooks. I do not have the luxury of having a ton of free time to sit down and just read a paperback book, even though honestly, it feels like such a blessing to be able to do that when I do have the time. I'm like, I have no responsibilities. I can sit down, I can light a candle, and I can read a book. Oh my gosh, dude, it's like this. I'm like, it's like, it feels like a gift. It feels like a reward. Here is a question for you. What was your favorite book this year?
It had to be Red Rising. It had to be either Red Rising or Mistborn. I didn't get to read a lot of books this year. I hit the podcasts really hard this year, and listened to a lot of podcasts that I got a lot out of, which was really fun. And then I realized I was like, I feel like I'm missing out on stories. And there are certain activities that I will listen to podcasts on, and there are certain activities I will listen to audiobooks doing. Like if I am doing the dishes, I can listen to either. But if I'm walking the dog and I need to be like semi paying attention to the dogs and the road and everything around me, I'm not listening to audiobooks. It's just like I will walk a mile and then realize, I have no idea what happened.
That's real. That is a real thing that happens. 'Cause I'm the same way. Like sometimes I'll actually walk in more inclement weather. Like if it's like just starting to rain, sometimes I'll take the dog out because I know there'll be less dogs, other people walking their dogs. That means I can focus because I do the same exact thing. Because on the days it's really bright, I try to take Tumnus out and walk my dog. Yes, my dog is named after the faun from Chronicles of Narnia. His government name is Mr. Tumnus. But when the sun is out, everyone takes their dogs out, which is good in its own way. It just selfishly, I can't listen to my books. I can't listen to my stories. At least not 100%. As well. For me, book of the year was Project Hail Mary, and so I was over the moon when I saw that they're making a movie. Guys, this book is amazing. This is the same author who did The Martian. I don't remember his name, so sorry, but it's a really good story. Project Hail Mary. It is a science fiction book, but it is set during essentially the current time, and we don't get a lot of that. We don't get a lot of stuff that's like humanity actively pushing the boundaries. It's usually a lot of stories of like, humanity has already solved X, Y, and Z issues. faster than light travel, cure for cancer, interstellar travel, terraforming. It's like we don't know how to do that stuff right now. And so seeing an author actively walk through what that would look like is really, really fun. And essentially he talks about like these stories about taking our civilization from one type to another. The type of civilizations has to do with the amount of power that we can harness from our environment. The largest type civilization being those who can master the power of their sun, but also other suns, extragalactic or extra solar system suns. So that would be the equivalent of us putting like a Dyson swarm around like Andromeda, you know? Like it's different.
It's super cool.
I guess Andromeda's a galaxy, but like finding another solar system in a different galaxy or even in ours and harnessing that power as well. Like that is what type civilizations talk about.
I think that's a great recommendation. I'm excited to read it.
It's so good. And again, it was from a group of folks on another Discord server that I talked to. It's a group of guys that I actually do like these board game weekends with. We do one a year. We take an entire weekend. We go to an Airbnb and we play board games the whole time. And it's great. We eat tons of good food and drink a lot. And it's awesome. I highly recommend it to people. Find a group of people that you really enjoy being with and schedule vacations with them. Everyone in that group, other than me and one other guy, have multiple children, and we still make it happen.
We're actually planning on doing that with my D&D group. We're actually planning a weekend in February where we're going to go to an Airbnb and we're going to have a D&D session over that Saturday.
Sick. Oh, that's so sweet. I can't wait to hear about it. Yay.
Super stoked.
I'm so glad that like D&D is like becoming like really normalized in the zeitgeist, and it kind of has been for a while now, probably with a huge portion of putting D&D or normalizing D&D has been Stranger Things, right? Which season 1 came out like 10 years ago, which feels weird to say. Like,
oh dear.
Like Stranger Things 5, which I've now finished. I actually really liked it. It definitely is like a completely different vibe to the first one. I felt like the first one was like truly like horror in a way. Horror thriller, probably more thriller actually. The fifth one is definitely more like action thriller kind of thing, but like everyone is an adult in that, and it's weird. It's very weird watching actors grow up from literal children to actual adults. I mean, the same thing with the Harry Potter. It's like by the time they were done, the actors were not 18. They were in their 20s. Like, because it takes a long time to make a movie, and it's very odd to watch someone else grow up, even if it is in a role that's not themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Let's see. So some stuff that happened at the end of the year that we were supposed to talk about in 2025, and then we didn't. A little thing called the Game Awards happened. It is essentially the Oscars for video games. It's truly what it is. It's a relatively new thing. They haven't actually held this for... The Game Awards are less than a decade old. I'll put it that way, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it's a young thing. Nathan, do you want to walk us through the different categories and those who won, and then we can talk as stuff gets revealed and kind of share our hopes and dreams for not only next year's awards, but as like the game industry and how we see it changing right in front of our very eyes.
Yeah, so as someone who has not had the opportunity to play almost any of the games on this year's Game Awards, I had some serious FOMO going on. People obviously enjoyed these games, so I do want to highlight some of these titles that stood out in the spotlight on December 11th, so just under a month ago this was all released. The first big one is... Sorry, I had to scroll. The first big one is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game swept this year. Like, just...
They crushed it.
Went off.
They destroyed. Like, they did a really good job. Not even to say that, like, they destroyed. That's probably not the right word, because this game really rallied a lot of people. And while it wasn't a game that I played personally, I saw a lot of people get true joy and reliving a video game experience that they haven't had in a really long time. And even though it may not be my cup of tea, like, sure, I might actually sit down and play it, and I probably would really enjoy it, but it doesn't directly call to me, but I think that's okay. Like, not every game is for every person. That's, like, you can't make a game that's like that. That's just reality. But so many people were like, would tell me, they're like, I had an emotional connection to this game, and that makes me happy. That makes me
That's what keeps people around.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's what you want to see. And it's like, even if you don't necessarily enjoy something the same way someone else does, if you see their face light up, hopefully that warms your cold dead heart a little bit, and you're like, oh, that's really sweet. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a thing called empathy. We like empathy. We think empathy is a good word here.
So I'll go through the awards that this game won. It did win the most amount of awards out of all of the titles here. It won Best RPG, Best Debut Indie Game, Best Independent Game, Best Performance by voice actor Jennifer English, Best Score in Music, Best Art Direction, Best Narrative, Best Game Direction, and arguably most importantly, Game of the Year.
Yeah, just a little cherry on top.
So it absolutely destroyed. Big congrats to Expedition 33. Great job, guys.
Yeah, that studio did such a good job. And again, an indie studio. Like, it just goes to show that, like, and we're probably going to talk about this a lot, is that the people want single-player games. And that has not been the direction. That has not been the general direction of the industry for about the last 2 decades, where titles like Modern Warfare and Battlefield, which I love Battlefield. I think Battlefield 6 looks great, and we played the crap out of the beta. But generally, people also want a single-player experience, and that has not died. That has not gone away. Speaking of which, Battlefield 6 also won Best Audio Design. Like, that's pretty cool. Which totally makes sense. It's a very immersive game. We're like, lock in, soldiers, we're in it. It's really fun. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, my favorite strategy playing Battlefield 6 is being a little barnacle. Do you know what I mean by that?
No. Elaborate, please.
Is specking in as the engineer, hopping on top of the tank with the welding tool and just healing it like crazy, and then providing like essentially point defense to other players who bum rush your tank, because if you can keep your tank alive, you can generally win games.
Good to know.
Play the objective.
We do love tank.
Sorry, did you have any other notes about like Clair Obscur or single player games, or do you want me to continue on?
Just keep going. Yep.
Cool. Doom the Dark Ages won innovation in accessibility. I think that's great. I love that that's a category, first off, because when we make the world more accessible for people who have handicaps or disabilities, it makes the world better for all of us. So
yes, it does. And we invent some really cool technology.
Yeah, we have so much cool stuff. Like, literally, we were just talking about, like, the books we read. Audiobooks were originally made for blind people. People who couldn't read, they're like, oh, what if we just, like, read it to them and recorded it? And now it's a massive industry, and people love it. Like, accessibility is a good thing.
Thanks, blind homies.
They're the real ones. Let's see, a game called South of Midnight. Again, not something that I played myself, but won Games for Impact. We'd love to see this. In Best Ongoing, No Man's Sky won that award. Best Community Support went to Baldur's Gate 3. Love that. It's one of the most common refrains we hear about any game is, do the developers listen to the community? And not just the people who kind of whine and complain and review bomb stuff. That doesn't feel great. And a lot of them are like kind of dumb. Like, people review bombed Battlefield 6 because some of the skins were like too bright. They're like, what is this, Call of Duty? And they're like, we want it to be different. And it's like, dude, whatever, man.
But there's also people who want those bright skins. So if you don't want to use it, just don't put it on your character.
Yeah, that's weird is people forget that they have free will. It's like you don't have to do something. I sort of get not wanting to go to the level of goofiness that Call of Duty is at right now, because you can get like just a full on like Homer Simpson skin or something, and that's weird.
You're thinking more of like Fortnite.
No, like Call of Duty as well has these like weird skins, and it doesn't really fit the vibe for the game, in my opinion. And Battlefield 6 definitely is a lot more like the what am I trying to say? More of the realistic type military simulation or milsim. And so I think that's why people push back on that, is they're like, oh well, we don't want this. But I mean, they didn't win that award, so there's that. It went to Baldur's Gate 3, a game that has had raving reviews, and I'm pretty sure won quite a few awards last year as well.
So there's not, just as a funny thing, there's not a Homer Simpson skin, but there is like weird character heads that you can run around with, like animals and stuff, at least from what I'm looking at in a Google image search. And there's some like anime helmets and stuff that you can wear. So yeah, it can get a little weird.
Yeah, like I'm looking at some of them, and one of them is like a raccoon. That's odd. Kind of looks like Rocket from Guardians.
It does look like Rocket, but I mean, all raccoons look like Rocket.
That's true. Yeah, so it's a little odd. Yeah, there's definitely some weird stuff going on over there.
A lot of duckies.
In a game that is hyper realistic for their military, and almost in like a sci-fi way, it feels weird that they're moving towards the whimsical. I like whimsical. I'm not against it, but it's also just, it's like, hey, it seems like they're almost trying to grab some of the Fortnite crowd and bring them over, because Fortnite is very whimsical, obviously, because it's the art style is more animated, and
I mean, you can play as Sabrina Carpenter, so I mean, you know.
Someone pour cold ice on this man right now.
You'll never get me.
All right, you got a few more categories for us.
Okay, so some of this I do want to kind of mention that I feel interestingly about. So the best mobile game went to Uma Musume, Pretty Derby. First, we all know why you guys are playing this. I was going to keep this as a patron-only commentary, but I'm like, nah, man. You're essentially, I think it's like a racing game or something. It's a sports simulation game. You're running around as a bunch of anime girls in cat ears. I'm like, dude, we know why you guys are here. I'm not trying to yuck someone else's yum, but like, come on.
I don't know if you heard the drama about the streaming awards, but there is this thing called a VTuber.
Yes. Yep.
And for those who don't know, a VTuber is a person who does not show their actual face. They get certain software to track their face, and then their expressions and voice get mapped onto an animated character. Typically, almost exclusively, this ends up being anime girls, right? It's cat-eared people who don't want to show their face, which I get. I totally understand and value privacy. I think that's a great thing. It's just like, why are they all anime girls? With one exception. And VTuber of the year, so the most popular VTuber of the year, went to a man by the name of the Burnt Peanut.
All hail Burnt Peanut.
He does the same thing, but instead of an anime girl, he transposes essentially just his eyes and his mouth onto a peanut. Not like an anthropomorphic peanut, just a peanut.
An actual peanut.
And I have to say, it's the funniest thing I've seen all year. He's very funny.
He's great. The best virtual reality or augmented reality went to Midnight Walk. Best action game, and nominated for many other awards, by the way. So like honorable mention for this next title in like 7 different categories went to Hades 2.
Hades 2 looks really fun. I will probably end up picking up Hades 2 when it goes on Steam sale. For Best Action Adventure, we got Hollow Knight, one of the most anticipated games of this year. This one also was up for Game of the Year, and I'm a little shocked it didn't win. But again, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was a powerhouse this year. Love to see it. Super stoked for all the people who are Hollow Knight fans, including some previous guests we've had on the show who are huge Hollow Knight fans, so I'm glad that they got to enjoy this game. The best fighting game was called Fatal Fury: City of Wolves. It beat out Capcom and Mortal Kombat. Like, talk about dethroning the kings. Oh my gosh. Like, that's crazy. Like, fighting games are some of the original games we had because they came in original arcade cabinets. All right, so you younger folks, an arcade cabinet is this thing that's about 5 to 6 feet tall. It has physical buttons on it, and it just like a single joystick and maybe like 2 to 4 buttons on it. And you control a side-scrolling fighter for the most part, and you just beat the living shit out of each other. And it's super fun, and arcades were awesome. I actually wish we had more arcades in our area, but Mortal Kombat and Capcom were some of the very first games in this genre and have basically been making these style of games since like the 80s. So it's crazy to see them lose. That's wow.
Kind of an upset. Greetings, my caffeine queens and kings. As by royal decree, I do bequeath upon my subjects the gift of the magic bean. This glorious potion will bring us to victory. I have ordered the storehouses open and Javi coffee concentrate to be consumed post-haste. For all your coffee needs this season, Javi is for you. Need a last-minute stocking stuffer? Javi has multiple products alongside their flagship coffee concentrates, including protein powders, coffee syrups, collagen syrups, and, well, that's about it, but that covers quite a lot. Tuck into some holiday flavors like s'mores, peppermint mocha, or sugar cookie. Use this code on screen to support us on the podcast, as well as get a discount on your next order. Javi is ultra convenient, ultra versatile, ethically sourced, and has a tremendous variety and an excellent shelf life. Now, my lords and ladies, back to the show.
Best family game went to Donkey Kong Bonanza. For those of you who now own a Switch 2, you have the opportunity to pick out Donkey Kong Bonanza. I have heard every single person who has played this game say it is awesome and that it is worth every single penny, and that it kind of was like a sleeper game because it came out of nowhere because the Switch 2 just launched, and then they're like, oh, by the way, here's this game. And it's like, it absolutely slaps. I mean, we're talking like the level of hype that like Halo came out with when the 360 launched. They're like, oh, the Xbox 360 came out. Oh, by the way, here's Halo 3. And it's like, you come out a different person on the other end. People love Donkey Kong Bonanza, especially if you have kids. It's very family friendly, unlike Halo. I think this is going to be a great option for you guys.
For best strategy game, we got Final Fantasy Tactics. This plays very much like a almost like a RuneScape title. Andrew, I don't know about you, but Final Fantasy titles live in this space in the gaming industry that there's actually an infinite number of Final Fantasy games, and none of them are in order. And yeah, I'm just it is a franchise. Yeah, it's a franchise I will never get into. It's not really the art style I dig playing. Again, I know all of our weebs out there probably love this, and they're like, hey, don't call us weebs. And I'm like, hey, man, you know who you are. Be about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, my best friend at work is a weeb. I love calling him a weeb. And he's like, yeah. But yeah, they won best strategy game. Really hoping Dawn of War 4 takes this over in 2026, because we should be getting that out in the next few months. Then we have Mario Kart World, and they won best sports / racing game, and they beat out multiple titles from EA on other sort of like the FIFA like titles and things like that.
FIFA usually dominates this category.
I have one piece of commentary. Suck a dick, EA.
Dude, EA sucks, man. I can't believe, I love the Mario Kart, or the Mario Kart games. I love them so much. Even though I feel like I'm overpaying for them, I do enjoy them quite a bit. And it feels really good to see this titan of the industry, EA, who really has thrown their weight around in the last decade of like, we're going to do whatever we want. We're going to have policies that are bad for the consumer and bad for gamers, and people aren't going to have a choice because we own such a huge portion of the market. To see them essentially lose in this category feels really good. I mean, Nintendo is no small player either, but Nintendo is also kind of in their own ecosystem, and they don't really have to compete directly with EA. EA has to compete with a lot of studios because most of their games are on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So they're competing with tons of people. Nintendo is like, nah, dude, we just made our own thing. We made our own ecosystem, and we have no competition. And they just rake it in. They just rake it in. So it's also surprising that Nintendo puts out typically good stuff because they almost don't have to, because people don't have an option. Thankfully, there's a lot of really hardworking people who work at Nintendo and really love the craft of making games and developing games, and we do get, I would say, a high quality of games from Nintendo. Their prices are still too high, and part of that is, rampant capitalism. Yay, love it. I'm not being serious. I don't love it. I hate it. Capitalism sucks. Some other two categories that I'm really, really excited about, and we've talked a lot on this podcast. One of them is the best multiplayer, which went to Arc Raiders.
Woo!
What? Unreal. Arc Raiders beat out Battlefield 6 and Elden Ring Night Reign, two extremely anticipated games for this year. I would say Arc Raiders did a good job of their marketing. I definitely was like, oh, that looks really interesting, but I didn't really buy into it until a coworker of mine who was like, dude, you have to play this game. And I was like, fine, it's $40. What do I have to lose? And wow, what an interesting social experiment. We might end up doing an entire episode on Arc Raiders just talking about the weird stuff we have experienced while playing it, but it's awesome. And it's $40, and it doesn't feel like a $40 game. Like think about it. In the last couple of years, we've had two games that are not AAA titles and have, I would say, dominated our playtime these last couple of years. I think the first one up is Arc Raiders, or the most recent one is going to be Arc Raiders. I see this being fun for a long time. And the other one is Helldivers. Like, Helldivers was a $40 game, and it slaps. And guys, it still slaps, dude. The community is still being supported. It's still being actively developed. It was actually up for an award this year for best ongoing game. It didn't win, but like, dude, Helldivers is still so good. And like, there's some really interesting rumors about Helldivers that like they might be going to like 8-player teams.
Oh my god, that would be so cool.
Can you imagine the level of like warfare that would have to balance out an 8-player Helldiver team? I'm here for it. It's currently like my most played Steam game. And that's only because I played Skyrim on the Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's my turn. Yep, I see it. I see it now. I have one more. You're like, when is this idiot going to talk about his portion?
He'll figure it out eventually.
All right. Best adaptation, which we were both so excited about. Best adaptation. So a video game that turned into a show or movie went to The Last of Us Season 2, which, boy, talk about trauma. Oh my gosh, what a traumatic season. But The Last of Us, which also is brimming with awards, has had, I would say, probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful video game adaptation of all time. Because Season 1 and Season 2, I mean, they're so good. It's one of the best zombie stories of all time, which most zombie stories do kind of boil down to, but humans are the real monsters the whole time. And this really is that. Like, it's so good. Like, I'm just reading this. I'm like, yeah, maybe it is time to rewatch this.
I'll be rewatching it soon for sure. This next category, I do want everybody to know that I'm writing these notes out at work. One of my last days there, because I was just like chilling. I booed at my computer monitor. I went boo, boo, because the most anticipated game of this year is Grand Theft Auto 6. And I think that is such a softball award. I'm like, dude, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been the most anticipated game for like 17 years. Like,
Dude,
it's
going
going
to get delayed again.
Probably. It's stupid. So I'm not like super excited about this. I booed it. I was like, dude, it's a meme at this point. Like, don't give it an award for the most anticipated game. The creators and the developers are like, hey man, we're just trying to take our time and like release something good. And we know people are upset, but thanks for the award that we took too long. Like, come on, what are you doing? The next one, very much did not enjoy. So the streamer / content creator of the year award went to Moist Critical. First of all, great username. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Love that. However, Burnt Peanut didn't get this award, and I think that is a shame. You had mentioned they got like the VTuber of the Year award, but the streamer award, he was an honorable mention. He was in the running. He was a nominee, and I think that was a huge missed opportunity. I'm like, for a VTuber to get streamer / content creator of the year would be huge for that section of the streaming community. Plus, Burnt Peanut's just hilarious.
He's very funny. He's very like crass, and like if you can't take a joke super well, you're not going to like his content, because he's simultaneously really chill and really rude at the same time. It's actually a delightful combo. Like, I even like played one of his videos, and like my wife thought it was really funny. She's not into the same kind of weird dark humor that I'm into. So even she thought he was pretty funny, because he's incredibly high energy. I mean, he must just be like geeked out of his mind on dopamine right now, because his success has been meteoric this year. And it's been really interesting to watch, not only because he's like pretty fun to watch. Yeah, he's great. One thing I wanted to point out is that over from one of our sponsors on Ground News, we talked a little bit about Grand Theft Auto and like what's going on with that. There's been a lot of headlines about like what's going on over there, and like, for instance, like KTLA 5, which is a center-leaning news publication with a very high factuality rating, says Rockstar Games provides update on much anticipated Grand Theft Auto sequel. They have been just like continuously pushing out the due date just over and over and over again. So it's good to see like even a site like Ground News can report on things like gaming and technology. It's not all politics, so make sure to go over there. We'll actually have a link in the description for their services. If you guys subscribe to their Vantage plan, you get a discount, and if you use our link, we get supported through that as well. So just a little ad break, a little shout out to our affiliates over there. Thank you, Ground News. And the last award for the Game Awards is Best Esports Game. I'm a little surprised by this one. I think it should have gone to Rocket League. I think Rocket League is the best esports game. I think it's legitimately so fun to watch. But I understand why it went to Counter-Strike 2. Counter-Strike, I mean, has been around since longer than I can remember, and it's still going strong. Like, it's a really competitive game, and people love watching it. And it's not so complex like a game like League of Legends, where you kind of have to be in the ecosystem to understand. Not so much for Counter-Strike. It's got a really bare bones mechanic, and it really comes down to the skill of the players and highlights them and all the work that they've put in, which is it's just great to see. So, I love that. One thing I didn't love is the majority of the Game Awards was just one long advertisement. That doesn't feel good. I think I saw someone post that less than 10% of the overall runtime of the Game Awards was actually the presentation of those awards. Everything else was either reveals, which I do love. I love those, but the rest of it was ads, like just straight ads. That feels gross, right? Like, and I know we just did.
Imagine being there live and seeing it, and you're like, I'm watching a lot of commercials here.
Dude,
that
it's like
stinks.
a 4 or 5 hour ceremony. It's not short. It's really long. And like the Streamer Awards was the same thing. There were so many ads. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like they literally, towards the end of the Streamer Awards, again, different ceremony. I mean, people were starting to get a little blitzed because like they're just sitting around drinking, waiting for things to happen. And it's like they just have to wait there. And it's like, oh, dude, that's too much. I was like, that's too much. You guys need to speed this up a little bit.
I'd be on like my 7th old fashioned and be like, give me more Star Wars stuff.
It's like,
Need to see the Wookiees.
Listen, this award goes to me because I'm the best.
Somebody get me another old fashioned.
Somebody get me another drinky poo and we can talk about Star Wars.
No, don't worry. I'm much more annoying than that when I drink. So,
which we kind of do want to talk about Star Wars, though.
All right, let's pop into it. Andrew, can you tell us about Fate of the New Republic?
So we got a new game announced. Fate of the
FOTOR.
FOTOR. So coming before 2030, according to the devs, like before that, it's in early development, but it is the spiritual successor to the Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, this feels like the best thing ever because, one, Knights of the Old Republic 1 is still in the process of being remastered, and there's been some speculation about whether or not that's actually going to come to fruition because, as you guys know, and as we've talked about so much on this channel, is Star Wars Eclipse, which was announced back in, I want to say, 2021. It is now 2026, and we have not heard a word about Star Wars Eclipse. And it, like, listen, I am choosing to be optimistic in that Fate of the New Republic is not going to turn into Star Wars Eclipse. What are my reasons for that? Faith, hope, and love. It's in early development. This is the most vulnerable a game can be at in its development cycle because it costs so much money to do everything. I mean, they're still in the process of making all their digital assets and doing mocap and doing voice recordings while cementing what the gameplay is going to look like, if it's going to be balanced, and creating these vast open worlds, because it is going to be a Knights of the Old Republic sequel. In the trailer, we saw a person who appeared to be Bastila. It's probably not, though. It's probably one of her children. Many of her children go on to be prodigies in the Force, for lack of a better words. I think it's her granddaughter, Satele Shan, actually becomes the Grand Master of the Jedi Order. If you guys have seen the Old Republic MMO trailers or played the games, she is the Jedi prominently featured in that. She's got the double-bladed lightsaber, and she's incredibly powerful in the Force. That is because she comes from a lineage of Bastila, who, again, we've talked about, has the battle meditation ability. This is one of the most godlike Force powers in all of Star Wars. And then on her fraternal side is freaking Revan. Dude, technically in canon, your Force sensitivity is not directly tied to who your parents were. But we see that Force-sensitive Jedi who then choose to have children tend to also have Force-sensitive children. So even though canonically, according to Disney, they're like, well, it's not necessarily. It's like, it is, though, right? Like, you have a higher chance of being Force-sensitive if your parents are also Force-sensitive.
And probably a greater capacity for Force abilities as well.
Yes, that is exactly right. So that was the biggest announcement from the Game Awards, at least that I was excited about. Everything else I just kind of blacked out because I was like, oh, Star Wars, a new Star Wars game, because it's been so long since, like, between Star Wars releases. The most recent Star Wars game we had was Outlaws, and while we loved Outlaws, it certainly had mixed results. It did not have a universal popularity, even though it is a great story. Guys, if you can get Star Wars Outlaws on sale, you should do it. It's fun. It's so fun.
It's a very large open world, so absolutely.
What are your thoughts on Fate of the New Republic? What did you think when you saw this trailer?
I mean, I'm super excited about it, but at the same time, because of Star Wars Eclipse, I'm not holding my breath.
We've been hurt before.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, we've been hurt before, and I have other things to kind of look forward to, which what I'm hoping will fill the time. So I'm hoping Dawn of War 4 will come out soon. That will kind of exist in my mental space for a while. Again, I've got a lot of different things going on right now, a lot of good books to read, some games I'm trying to 100%. But in the meantime, I am okay with waiting, but I'm not getting too excited about it right now, not until there's an official release date. So that's what I'm keeping in mind right now.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is until we get a date on a calendar, it's not a for sure thing. Right? We've been hurt too many times. I mean, think about all the Star Wars games that have been canceled. There was supposed to be a Mando game. That's not happening. The Star Wars, what was it? Like 1919 or something. I can't even remember the number correctly.
I have no idea.
But it was going to be a bounty hunter style game where you played on that level of Coruscant. 1313. That was the one.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. But we also have Zero Company to look forward to as well.
And we have Zero Company. We don't have an exact release date, but we do have a release year, which is 2026. And it's 2026. I think it's going to be towards Q3, Q4. We haven't seen anything since the initial release. And you guys loved our content on Star Wars Zero Company. We absolutely will be doing more of that. Yeah, I'm excited. I love Star Wars, dude. It's so good. I mean, this is a Star Wars channel. I'm so excited. Here's another thing. So, we're getting a Star Wars movie in theaters this year, which feels so good. I'm going to be first in line to get tickets to Mando and Grogu. It's going to be so
100%.
Good. Like, even if it's like a B tier movie, I think I'm just so happy to be returning to Star Wars that I would literally watch anything. Marvel has really let me down recently, and we've talked a lot about on our Patreon Discord we talk about a lot more fandoms than what we just cover on this channel, but Marvel has been kind of boring since Endgame, really, right? There's been some standout stars, but for the most part it's been nothing. It's been really disjointed, disconnected, kind of like a who cares now.
I think our patrons did a really good job at kind of summarizing what has been happening with the Marvel franchise, in that Disney has been trying to capture magic in a bottle twice, and that's really hard to do because the Infinity War saga was so good, and they're trying to replicate that again, and that's an incredibly high bar to meet.
It not only is it an incredibly high bar, but it took them so long to set it up. All of the movies leading up to Infinity War were very, very intentional, and honest to goodness, there weren't a lot of movies in that series that didn't hit. The original Hulk, I didn't really like all that much. The Edward Norton one, it was a little weird that they changed actors. Again, not the end of the world. We've talked about how we feel about actors changing mid runs, but I mean, again, this is over the course of multiple decades, so actors are going to change, and unfortunately some actors during this period are just going to pass away, and they're going to need to either be replaced. I mean, talk about Black Panther. I don't like watching Black Panther 2 because it's still too emotional.
Still hits pretty raw.
It's very raw, and to think that Chadwick Boseman did so much of that filming while doing some pretty intense chemotherapy, and then to lose the fight in the end is really hard. It's really hard. Sorry, I'm a little off track, but there weren't a lot of movies before Infinity War that weren't awesome. Afterwards, there were a lot of them that were yeah, that was kind of boring. I didn't really enjoy the new Fantastic Four. The Eternals was weird, right? Like, how do you...
It was a little weird.
It had an Avengers level cast as far as like the amount of main characters it had, and then it was immediately forgotten. A lot of the Disney Plus shows have been sort of like nothing sandwiches. I didn't even finish Ironheart. I thought it was kind of boring. The Hood is not a super compelling villain, but on the same side of that coin, Daredevil Born Again was the best TV we've seen from Marvel ever. I also really liked Marvel Zombies, but that's, not canon either.
Very much enjoyed that too. Yep.
It was really good. I actually really like a lot of Marvel's animation. I think they should do more of it, but I understand why they don't, because they're a live action film company.
Andrew, we are at the hour mark. Do you want to do the new segment I have planned?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we'll do that and then we'll finish up. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, I'm going to make very few edits to this video. It's been just kind of a nice rolling conversation, and that helps me a ton. And as soon as I say that he's got to walk away and do something, that means one of his dogs puking? Or is, what? He has notes. What's happening? What are you doing? You walked away from your computer. You have physical notes. So you're keeping things from me. I see.
Yes, brother. You'll see on the notes that it says Nathan has them written down on a pad because I can't have you see what the game is.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to play Two Truths and a Lie. What did I call this in the Patreon idea?
Shoot. 1 second. You called it Lore or Legends.
Yes, thank you. I went to the wrong Discord page. Okay, so we're going to play Lore or Legends, which is just two truths and a lie. The theme of today's Lore or Legends is going to be plasma weapons.
I'm going to crush this.
All right, our first bit. The E11 blaster can hold 500 rounds when using plasma cartridges.
I may not crush this.
Item number 2. The Type 25 plasma pistol from Halo is a design unique to the Ungoi and is incorporated into the Covenant upon their species joining. Item number 3. Plasma weapons can still be made by select Forge worlds in Warhammer, but no one knows how they are made.
I'm pretty confident about this. The E11, I was a little suspect on, but I do remember that in Star Wars canon, the official mag count for blaster packs is incredibly high. Second point, plasma in Warhammer 40k. I actually didn't think you were going to jump fandom, so this is really interesting. Plasma in 40k is a lost technology. It's actually called lost or one of the stratagems in the 9th edition Dark Angels Codex refers to plasma weapons as weapons of the Dark Age. I think it gave extra damage characteristic. Oh, but yeah, we don't know Warhammer at all. Shut up. So I'm very confident in the third one being lore. So the second one, can you reread that one for me?
The Type 25 plasma pistol is a design unique to the Ungoi, or the Grunts, and was incorporated into the Covenant upon their species joining.
Well, first off, I knew that the Ungoi were Grunts, so don't insult my...
The people don't know.
The people... You're right. So that one is false, or in this case, we'll call it legends, because there are actually 2 species in the Covenant that primarily use the Type 25. I don't necessarily know that that's what you're asking, but this is what I'm going to say. I believe it's the second one, because it's the Jackals and the Grunts that primarily use these weapons. In the Jackals, I don't remember their actual name, but they sport an energy shield in one hand and a plasma pistol in the other. And in the Halo books, it's actually when the Master Chief or one of the other Spartans commandeers one of these handheld shields from the Jackals that they reverse engineer it and allow the Mjolnir armor to have energy shields. So it's number 2. There you go.
You are correct, brother.
Let's go. I knew it. Let's go.
You're not correct for the way I intended the question. So you're correct in the sense that
doesn't matter, still
Jackals
counts.
And Grunts, it doesn't matter, still counts 100%. So I'm actually going to write this down that Andrew got this correct. He got this. Bam.
That was fun. I liked this.
So The part of that was the lie was the part that the Ungoi introduced the plasma pistol. The Covenant actually stole the design for the plasma pistol from old Forerunner technology. It's not a technology that was incorporated upon the Ungoi joining the Covenant.
See, I had no idea about that portion. I was like, I think it's this one. There was enough in the second one. If you've ever watched the show from Dropout TV called Actually, it's a game show that is essentially this, where they give you like a nerd factoid and they'll just like change one little thing about it. I was like, okay, there's enough in the second answer that I think it could be that one. And honestly, in my head, I was thinking, oh, it might even be something as petty as, oh, it's not even called the Type 25, it's the Type 26. Like, I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought about doing that, but I was like, no, that's too obscure. You nailed everything else. You were right on with the 500 rounds for the E11, and you nailed it. There are only select Forge worlds that can still make the plasma weapons from Warhammer 40k because they have the STLs for them, but they have no idea how they work. They just it's like they plug in the USB and the machine spits out plasma weapons, and they're like, hey, man, we don't know why this works. Whereas like every Forge world in the Imperium could make a bolter or a lasgun.
So they have the blueprints, right?
Yeah.
An STL, which is I cannot
standard
remember.
Template construct.
Or an STC. An STL is a 3D modeling file for like 3D printers. Or
Shit, you're right. Same concept.
They'll never know. They'll never figure it out. That's not going to come to bite us. But the STCs are essentially black boxes where you put materials in and it just does magic on the inside and new things come out. So it essentially is lost technology because the Imperium is not going to take this thing apart to reverse engineer it, because if they do, it will and they mess up, they lose that technology. So they're like, you know what? Better to keep the black box doing its thing and have this technology than to not have it.
And they think taking apart weapons and like reverse engineering things is basically heresy. They're like, nope, we can't do that. It's against our doctrine. It's blasphemy. And then they kill people who do that.
Warhammer is a little silly. It is a little silly, which is why I don't know, man. I love it. I love it so much, but it is a little silly. As speaking of nerddoms or fandoms that are very silly, Star Wars is absolutely up there. I'm keeping a list of dumb names that have come up in the Star Wars Battle Scars book that I'm reading. It is a book about Cal Kestis and the crew of the Mantis between the two Jedi Survivor games. It's interesting. It's not my favorite. It was actually recommended, not necessarily recommended. I bought it at a half price books. And the same day, I saw another content creator online called Twin Suns Archive post about how they hated this book. And I messaged them and I was like, I literally just bought this. And they go, it's the worst book I've read all year. And I was like, oh no. So I've been keeping notes because I actually would like to have them on the podcast. I don't know if they're interested or not. I have not reached out to them either, but you should go follow them. They make good content. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah, brother.
If we ever do talk about Battle Scars, that means you'll have to read it too, which makes book club discussions a little difficult because then 3 people have to read and finish the book.
We can make that work. All right, guys, we're going to finish out the episode because we're running up onto 70 minutes now, and our dear producer here is going to have to fix this all. So, or just leave it raw. Send it in raw and wriggling.
We're gonna raw dog it, I believe is what the kids say nowadays.
If you guys liked what you heard today and you want to support our community, please join our Patreon. Huge thanks to our top patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David. We actually just sent out a copy of Arc Raiders in our December giveaway. We would like to do more of those, so you can support us by supporting us by giving us money on Patreon so we can do more giveaways. Make sure you guys watch our YouTube videos. Please interact with them. Follow us on social media like the Galactic Empire. We are everywhere, and may the Force be with you.